I think this video will be dedicated to stack bundles and Edie Montgomery. It seems that Charlie Kirk's organization, TPUSA, is having AMfest, and they're bringing in all kinds of celebrities to reinforce how important conservative values are to this great nation in which we live. And, as I peruse the algorithm, intended to put me in my place, as always, I noticed a lovely young Trinidadian woman saying her prayers. Very conventionally attractive young lady. And of course, young is relative depending on which culture considers you safe. Out of respect for an initial blueprint of mine, I won't go too deep. But it is interesting how graciously we are welcomed into the arms of some once we no longer have our teeth. I believe Paul Mooney said something similar. There's a good lesson here for my boys, I think. You'll notice that white America loves Muhammad Ali once he has Parkinson's. And after Thomas Sowell turns 90, he is finally worthy of public approval without a chaperone. I miss real hip-hop. You know, back when they were talking about something. I realize I've been kind of long-winded in my previous conversations. So, since I'm a sprinter, I think it's better if I start to shorten these little notes up. Because who wants to hear me talk when we have such eloquent masters as Erica Kirk and J.D. Vance? Such powerful orators. Merit-based, of course. Edie Montgomery is the widow, to the extent that I'm aware, of Bill Montgomery, who was the co-founder of Turning Point USA, who spotted Charlie Kirk when he was 18 years old and convinced him to start Turning Point USA rather than go to college. I was introduced to a potential mentor as well from the Black Sigma something fraternity. It's not really a respected fraternity in the South, but in Chicago, it has some history. And he introduced me to another individual. And on the surface, they were very supportive of my desire to continue to grow athletically and kinesthetically. And they shared my interest in wanting to know more about history as it pertains to black culture. They for their own needs, and myself in order to translate a blueprint for my own community. Only when you approach the age of 40 do these things become apparent to other people. When you're in college, you're seen as kind of almost a sexual grifter. So the assumption is you have some kind of sexual motive. And I hate to admit it, but my mother was right. There was a undercover sexual motive that they had in bringing me under their wing. The serpent in the garden is the most cunning of all creatures. And it uses our desire for our woman to bring us fruit that God commanded us not to eat. And since we are instructed to follow that book at any cost, I think it's very valid that we take those lessons seriously. So who is the serpent today? It's not Charlie Kirk. He's dead. And Erica Kirk is a fine CEO. So fine that she gives Nicki Minaj permission to speak. Those of us familiar with hip-hop know when Stack Bundles gave Nicki Minaj permission to speak. And Lil Wayne gave Drake permission to speak. And perhaps if I continued in my Divine Nine mentorship, today I would be given permission to speak. Perhaps my mother would be given permission to breathe. Bro. I noticed that I'm not hearing a lot of "what about Chicago" these days from the mainstream media. I'm hearing a lot of "F the streets." Very coordinated effort. I find it interesting that DJ Academics never said "F the streets" during the Chirac years. Chirac, Shiesty. The way black women have treated their men has been used as a template for first the Hispanic communities and then subsequently the Asian communities. Asian women, since the days of the Joy Luck Club, have been greatly encouraged to dehumanize their men publicly. The first episode of a Josh Whedon series was about an Asian superhero. And who jumped up to take his powers away? No one else but his woman, because she was instructed to do so. And she was more than happy to do it, as she is in every role she takes. Lynette Poteet-Young never said a single positive thing about my father or my mother until my mother died. Then she mustered up every bit of Erica Kirk's strength to shed a few crocodile tears when I was trying to hold myself together in front of white people to support my father. Because, executed or not, I am his legacy. And I am his successor. And I reign supreme in this office. I am now disciplinarian and executioner. I believe Charlie Kirk's assassination was a farce, just like the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Both staged events to take away from the shame and embarrassment of not realizing how strong our community was after my mother was taken. And just like the Jewish substitute teacher was brought in to deliberately distract me during a timed mathematics test to prevent me from succeeding again, your agents are brought in to distract from your failures. Trying to show fraudulent female leadership when real warrior queens walked this earth silently, with dignified poise. With grace and love that you people are not even capable of fathoming. I paid attention to the Dallas club scene for a little while. I don't like DJ Q because he's the absolute best with the craft of scratching or DJing. There are people that even he might say would have better technical mastery of certain things. But I resonate with his spirit to the point of embarrassing myself, the same way I did with Errol Spence. And we are in chains, unable to help each other grow because of viruses and agents placed between us. My mother never respected such agents, even though she was willing to pray with them in our own home. Nicki, I hope you make all the money you need to make to be secure in the future. But we are going to use you today as an object lesson for the children. Black women especially like to rely upon morality and their ancestry and the history of oppression in this country only when their sexual currency runs out. Gayle King is 70 years old. Parading herself around like a walking dating profile. There is no one in Black America you will be able to run to save you from what's coming. Write all the checks that you want. I can't tell you what will happen in 2028. I can't even tell you what will happen in an hour. This comes down to one issue. This is the mucus that resides in America. Your unwillingness to acknowledge that the Creator made us all worthy of everything He provided for us. You take the Word of God and make it about you. And the majority of you are atheist anyway. And now if you murder me, everyone will be watching. Boys, the Jews will always use your pride as the primary weapon against you. Because they can't see past their own. That is the ultimate lust. I've questioned many things in the Bible. But one of the biggest questions I've always had is, how could Lucifer look at the face of God and organize a rebellion in heaven itself? And who would be dumb enough to follow him? This is the danger of pride. And when you have a character deficiency in one area, a sneakier form of pride comes when you try to cover it up with another attribute. This is why it's very, very important to manage your sexuality very carefully. Do not let your lack of athletic achievement or your lack of financial achievement or your insecurity about your appearance or heritage drive you into the arms of the serpent. Everyone taking pictures at that wall has fallen prey to this. When you falsify something like an assassination, Mr. Trump, you have to go around trying to replace Kennedy at every turn. And knowing how fragile white America is when it's time to reward a professor, knowing how quick you are to discipline a young child when he stands up too tall, you would think that there would be a far deeper dive into the history of the assassin that almost took President Trump's life. But we never heard a peep about that. It was a one-day story. Lee Harvey Oswald, Jack Rubenstein. We don't need to force the hand of God, children. The Lord is more than capable of organizing his own vengeance. But there is no crime in having your eyes open. Whether you're from Trinidad and Tobago, India, or anywhere else. What's that phrase? You catch more flies with honey? Maybe if you took better care of the goys, they wouldn't look so hard. We'll talk in a bit.